Hello there. In today's video we are going to look through this publication, the Geographical magazine, and learn a little bit about the world around us. There are some excellent articles in here we'll skim read, and we'll take a look at the pictures of. We've got ones that we will skip over as they're a little bit sad, and it's not really what we're looking for in this relaxing ASMR video. But we'll be taking a look, for example, at Senegal and its coastal fisheries. We'll be looking at Llandudno, when we discover Britain. That's somewhere in my country, in Wales, a very beautiful place. We'll also be looking at Where in the World quiz. That sounds very much like something for the viewers of this channel. Yeah, so I think that there's plenty of really nice material we can take from this book. This is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So I decided to do something a little bit different today and take a look at this Geographical magazine. It's geographical.co.uk. Now this is not sponsored, I just bought it because I think it would be of interest of the regular viewers of this channel, and it is very in keeping with learning about geography, which is what we tend to do on this channel. This is just an advert, but it is absolutely beautiful and fits in with my mini obsession with Uzbekistan, because this is Samarkand. Samarkand today and Samarkand in 1864, which is an illustration from Travels in Central Asia by Armin van Berry in 1864. So, we'll miss out ones, for example, about civil war and hunting animals. We don't want to look at those today. We do want to look at St. Helena Island in the Caribbean, though. Look at that. That's incredible. It's this first article, World Watch, A Toxic Legacy. The race to save the ozone layer has left us with a new, more permanent problem. In June 25, scientists at the University of York, that York is in the north of England, published a report investigating the presence of a little-known chemical compound. I'm going to attempt to pronounce it, but it looks difficult. Trifluoroacetic acid, or TFA, in UK rivers. The researchers had sampled water from 54 sites across 32 rivers in Wales, the north of England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, many of which are primary sources of the UK's drinking water. The results came back positive for 98% of test sites. Across the globe, concentrations of this TFA, one of thousands of known per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or forever chemicals, have been increasing. Today it's the most abundant PFAs found in the natural environment. Ice cores extracted from the Canadian Arctic in 2015 and 2017 indicate that, after being almost non-existent in the 70s and 80s, TFA concentrations began to sharply rise in the 90s and have continued to climb. And Lucy Hart of Lancaster University says that this timing coincides with the widespread adoption of chemical replacements for CFCs, once essential refrigerants and propellants that were found to destroy the ozone layer. TFA is known to be produced by several human-related sources, such as industrial processes, the degradation of certain pesticides and pharmaceuticals, and the atmospheric breakdown of CFC replacements. Fluorinated gases such as HCFCs and HFCs. The researchers who analysed the ice cores hypothesized that CFC replacements might explain this increase in TFA concentrations, but This theory had never actually been tested in a model before, says Hart. This beautiful picture there, it says, the Kelvin River in Glasgow, that's in Scotland of course, has the highest recorded concentration of toxic TFA of any river in the UK. Just skip that for you. Turning the tide. Let's go to Senegal and off the coast of West Africa then. Senegal has pledged to expand its protected coastal fishing zone, offering hope to small-scale fishers hit by collapsing stocks in industrial competition. Look at this incredible picture on the bottom of all those fishing boats, and all of the ones on the beach as well. Foreign fishing fleets target coastal sites off Senegal. So it's expanded its protected coastal fishing zone to protect the livelihood of its local inhabitants and stop foreign fishing. There was a time when sardinella, a small silvery pelagic fish that forms the backbone of the Senegalese diet, was abundant in West Africa's coastal waters. Today, like 57% of Senegal's fish populations, sardinella stocks are in a state of collapse. The consequences for the country's small-scale fishers have been dire, with job losses and an alarming rise in food insecurity, leaving communities facing increasingly difficult and dangerous choices. Here we go. This is the masterpiece of this magazine. Discovering Britain, Llandudno. Grand designs. Rory Walsh pays homage to the Queen of Welsh resorts. So we've got the beautiful pier. This is a 700-metre Llandudno pier. Very keeping in the style of Victorian piers here in the UK. And then this is something that's quite famous. This is a tram which goes up the Great Orme headland as you travel to the top of the mountain on this tram. I've never been to Llandudno, but I do know about it. On the lower slopes of a steep grey cliff, a zigzag footpath climbs towards a small wooden hut. The tarmac is narrow and bumpy. Grasses and wildflowers dance either side in the breeze. It's a blustery but warm June morning. On my left, banks of greenery shade routes to the summit. To the right, a large bay arcs towards the horizon. Its row of seafront buildings, pale and even as teeth, smile at rolling waves. The hut, a camera obscura, is ahead on a grassy bank. Then a stranger appears. Lord Mostyn and his agent, John Williams, specified that the town that is to be shall resemble, as far as practicable, the country. As a result, green spaces were included, from flower beds to public gardens. Northwestern Gardens is affectionately known as Bog Island, after the public toilets built discreetly underground. With its mix of modern design and stunning scenery, early guidebooks promoted Llandudno as the Naples of the North and the Queen of Welsh resorts. The grandest area of all remains the seafront. The British Tourist Authority once likened Llandudno's pier to a floating Maharaja's palace. Slightly over the top, I think, but there we go. This next one's quite interesting, though. Living bridges. This is in the phenomena section. The remarkable explained. Grown, not built. Look at that. It's made completely out of vines. The double-decker route bridge near the village of Nongriat in northeastern India. Most bridges are built to withstand nature. In the hills of northeast India, however, some are part of nature itself. Across the state of Meghalaya, indigenous Khasi and Jaintia communities have spent centuries growing bridges from the aerial roots of rubber fig trees, Ficus elastica. Known as living root bridges, they're among the world's most unusual forms of infrastructure. Gold indicates a brightening of nighttime light. Purple shows a dimming. Ah, look at the dimming over there then. Seen in a new light. Each year the world grows roughly 2% brighter as rapid urban expansion continues to light up the night sky. However, this global trend hides another reality. In some places the night is growing darker. Across Europe, research shows that light emissions dropped by 4% between 2014 and 2022. Using high-resolution nightly data and a new algorithm that adjusts for satellite viewing angles, which can affect how bright an area appears, researchers have uncovered sharp regional contrasts. In nighttime lighting, for example, France's light emissions dropped by 33%. After streetlight curfews were introduced, whereas Germany saw little change, with rising emissions in some districts balanced by decreases in others. Yeah, we do have such a thing in Britain. They turn the lights off after 12 o'clock, I think. And they removed a lot from our motorways as well. A false alarm. This is Mount Fuji. Wow, look at that. Above the clouds. Beautiful picture. The ground above a volcano often rises and falls as magma moves beneath the surface. A phenomenon known as ground deformation, and one of the most important indicators of a potential eruption. However, new research suggests that not all volcanic heaving is driven by magma. Ground deformation, which can range from a few millimeters to several centimeters, is often imperceptible without highly sensitive instruments. While analyzing data from instruments located near Japan's Mount Fuji, an active stratovolcano, hydrological geodesist, Shorjung, identified several instances of 1 to 2 centimeters of uplift that coincided with heavy rainfall. Winds of change. Understanding Earth's past climate is key to predicting future changes, but while we can reconstruct past temperatures and precipitation, which leave persistent chemical and biological imprints across the planet with relative ease, wind patterns have proven much more difficult to pin down. Scientists often rely on proxy data, such as wind-blown dust or pollen trapped in geological records, or ocean floor sediment cores that reveal wind-driven surface currents. Now a new application of LiDAR technology is providing a breakthrough. I'm just going to completely avoid anything that I think is stressful. Insectageddon, what's this about? Where have all the insects gone? Across the UK, insect populations are in free fall. New data show dramatic declines that threaten nature and us. This is obviously the case, but I have actually noticed certain insects in the UK much more this year because of how dry it's been and how warm it's been. I have never seen so many dragonflies. I don't remember seeing them at all when I was a kid, and where I live now has so many of them. They fly past my window every day. 63% fall in flying insects on UK number plates. This is how they measure it. Since 2021, 2024 Bugs Matter survey. 38% of UK pollinator species have become less widespread over the long term. Yes, I must include bees as well, surely. Habitat loss, wildflower meadows and hedgerows are disappearing. pesticide use, pollution, artificial light. Lights at night disrupt insect behaviour and navigation. Climate change, obviously, rising temperatures and more extreme weather events add further stress. What can help? Wildflower habitats. Plant more native flowers and let areas grow wild. It's something that I think our local council is doing quite a lot of. I noticed when I was driving through the city the other day that there's a patch of grass that runs all the way down the A road next to our football stadium. And rather than just mow it all, they've mowed and they've left natural wildflowers there and gone around them. So they haven't completely left it all. They've sort of mowed the grass to this point, mowed the little bit around the side and just left this sort of rectangular area of beautiful wildflower. And obviously the bees must absolutely love it. Reduce mowing. Mow less often and leave patches long. Exactly what I was just saying, yeah. Darker nights. Use less artificial light and shield outdoor lighting. The evidence is mounting. From butterflies to beetles, insects are disappearing at an alarming rate, and the consequences reach far beyond our windscreens. So apparently this is a windscreen in 1990, this is in 2026. Oh yes, this is about the Jacu. My other half pointed this out to me recently and said, see how when you're driving around how many Jacus you see, because this is now the top selling car in the UK, and they are a large Chinese car that's often electric. The JQ7's UK success reveals a striking reversal. Chinese car brands are no longer catching up with Europe, they're selling aspiration back to it. China in the driving seat. The best-selling car in the UK in March 26 was the JQ7, a Chinese family SUV. More than 10,000 were sold that month alone. Around 800 more than the second-place Ford Puma. JQ7s alongside offerings from other Chinese companies such as the quixotically named Build Your Dreams, BYD, and the resurrected but no longer British MG brand, are now a familiar sight on the roads. Until recently, you wouldn't have associated China with car manufacturing. I'm going to miss the bit about Myanmar, I'm afraid. I studied in Swansea University. Cardiff was my second choice. Borneo. I was thinking about Borneo the other day, actually. I was thinking about doing a video on it. Back to base. Nearly 50 years after one of the great rainforest expeditions, the scientists and explorers who helped reveal the secrets of Borneo's Gunung Mulu returned to a landscape transformed, and to the indigenous communities whose knowledge made their discoveries possible. Look at how stunning that is. So here is the island of Borneo, and I still might do this video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but basically the southern larger tip is Indonesia, the green section is Malaysia, and the yellow section is Brunei Darussalam. So it's actually shared, the island itself. It's a massive island just above Australia. It is shared between 3 different countries. And it's one of the most biodiverse regions in the entire world. Between 1977 and 1978, more than 115 scientists from Malaysia and around the world descended on Mulu National Park as part of a joint multidisciplinary survey of this extraordinary region. Look at that beautiful picture of all the green hillsides there. The dense forest cover is punctuated by distinctive limestone outcrops. One of the key findings came from the ecology team, led by scientist John Proctor. They cracked the code of the rainforest by placing nets on the ground and observing how rapidly the leaves were broken down by centipedes and millipedes. We found that the nutrients are constantly being recycled through trees, and virtually no nutrients are kept in the soil at all, says Robin Hanbury-Tennyson, who led the expedition and founded the NGO Survival International. This explains why, when trees are cut down, nothing is left but a thin layer of poor soil. This key finding helped to launch the global rainforest movement, which campaigned, mostly unsuccessfully, to protect the world's remaining tropical rainforests from the threat of deforestation. For the Pennan, this forest is alive, pulsing, responsive in 1,000 ways to their physical needs and their spiritual readiness. Roses without thorns. The cut flowers sold across Europe often begin life on the shores of Kenya's Lake Naivasha. After years of criticism over water use, pollution and working conditions, the industry is trying to show that it can have a greener future. 40% of the cut flowers sold in the EU come from Kenya. No way. These beautiful roses. Flowers have been used as a way of expressing emotion for around 4,000 years. The use of hydroponics is one of the ways that flower producers have reduced their environmental footprint. So here's a map of Kenya, and you can see it here within the context of Africa. Lake Naivasha is there, and Nairobi, the capital, is there. The fresh water of the lake, which is a protected Ramsar site, also attracted, and still does, masses of bird life, making Lake Naivasha one of Kenya's top bird watching sites. But what made the lake shore so attractive to wildlife also attracted people. It was the British colonists who first noted that the climate around the lake was ideal for farming, and they cleared large parcels of woodland for cattle ranching. In more recent times, the lake's proximity to Nairobi, Kenya's capital, has meant that Lake Naivasha has become a favoured weekend break for city folk. While both these aspects brought development to the lakeshore, it was the flower industry that really changed everything. Headlines declared that this biologically important lake was drying out. The riparian forests were vanishing, fish stocks were collapsing, and the large herd of animals that once grazed around the lake shore were becoming just a memory. The blame was placed squarely on the 50 or so flower farms that had sprung up along the lakeshore during the previous years. There were allegations of unsustainable water use, and with each rose requiring around 10 litres of water, it was hard to deny the flower farms were negatively affecting the lake's water levels. Reports of pesticide and fertilizer runoff pouring into the lake and poisoning it, and lakeside habitat being destroyed to create more space for plastic greenhouses. Oh, look at giraffe. Beautiful creatures. Around Lake Naivasha, wildlife, people, agriculture and industry are all learning to live with one another. There are at least 50 flower farms around the shores of Lake Naivasha. Kenyan greenhouses do not need to be heated in winter. I suppose that's one advantage. Heritage or harm. For centuries the men of Ness have sailed to Sulasgeir to harvest young gannets. Now after avian flu and mounting animal welfare pressure, one of Britain's most controversial traditions faces an uncertain future. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about this article because I don't think it's very nice. We've got a pretty bird there though. Dominica in the Caribbean on the wild side. From hot sand and bubbling bays to sperm whales and rainforest trails, Bryony Cottam discovers how community-led tourism is shaping a different kind of Caribbean escape. The village of Soufrière on the southwest coast of Dominica. We swam between meadows of sea fans and gaping barrel sponges. This is the Emerald Pool in the interior of Dominica near the Central Forest Reserve. Soufrière Bay lays in the caldera of a sunken volcano, just beyond the beach where natural gases are percolating up through the vents in the sand and rock. The floor of the ocean abruptly falls away. Oh, look at that beautiful parrot. The red-necked Amazon parrot is only found on Dominica. I think it's on its flag as well, isn't it? The night air filled with the whistles and chirps of a rainforest orchestra. Jungle Bay head gardener Stacey Moses. The forested hilltop resort of Jungle Bay. Look at that view, goodness me. By the time Dominica, or Waitukubuli, as the island is still known today by the indigenous Kalinago people, attained independence in 1978, it had endured 305 years of colonial tug-of-war as French and British forces fought for its natural resources. But unlike neighbouring Barbados and Antigua, where the large, flat plains were perfectly suited to expansive sugar plantations, Dominica's vertical, volcanic landscape proved too challenging for sugarcane. Indian River is a protected nature reserve in the northwest of the island. This is a green turtle investigating a sponge. How cute. Some book review. Peak experience, expedition climbing. Bears in base camp, an unexpected storm and a freezing bivvy all threatened Anya Petek and Patricia Verdev's first Himalayan expedition. Tristan Kennedy hears how they kept going. The uncertainty is too big, and if you're not able to deal with that mentally, you'll struggle. There we have the life and legacy of Gertrude Bell, who spent around 15 years travelling in the Middle East and Europe. Following the outbreak of the First World War, she was called upon by the British government to assist in its war efforts. Based first in Cairo and then Baghdad, her extensive knowledge helped shape Britain's wartime policy in the Middle East. She was born in Washington, northeast England. I've never even heard of Washington. She studied modern history at Oxford. Oh, okay, let's do it. So, where in the world? I've got my hand on the answer. Identify this country using the following clues. 1. This country's capital is the coldest national capital on Earth by average annual temperature. 2. The nearest coastline is over 1,000 kilometers away. 3. Every summer, locals celebrate with a festival featuring wrestling, archery and horse racing, often called the Three Manly Games. Not sexist at all. 4. Despite winter temperatures that regularly plunge below minus 30 degrees, ice cream remains a popular treat throughout the year. Why ever not? 5. Around 1.56 million kilometers squared, it is nearly the size of Alaska and Texas combined. I don't think this is the answer. I think this is the answer to that one. I think I know. I'm going to say my answer. You can decide whether I'm right or wrong. I think it might be Ulaanbaatar of Mongolia. This here looks more like the UAE or Qatar or something. July's answer was Manama in Bahrain. Okay, close by. Find the answer online at geog.gr/where-world or in next month's issue. I might have a little look later and see if I'm right. Check me, why don't you? I'm going to zoom in, and if you really want to, you can pause this and do the crossword. I will take forever to do it. And I'm a bit rubbish at particularly these ones. Illegally remove metal, we hear. I don't like the clues like that. So if you pause the video, you can do it yourself. Good luck. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the video. And the different pace and content that we tried today. If this is in any way successful, I'm happy to repeat it. I do love a good magazine after all. So why don't you show your intentions by clicking like and leaving a positive comment for me if you liked it. And if you're new to the channel, click on subscribe. A massive thank you so much and hello to all of the Patreons that I seem to have attracted this month. Thank you so much for all your support. It directly funds the channel and allows me to get cool materials like this and the travel guides I've been buying for the channel recently. If you want to join them and have extra content, plus early access to every single video that I release on this channel, then join them on Patreon. Information in the box below. Click to expand. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a very relaxing time, learned something new, and hopefully you're fast asleep and can't hear a word I